My husband's sister said my daughter didn't belong in the photo, then a black car pulled up. I was still holding the flowers I brought for picture day. But my daughter left out. No reason. No kindness. Just quiet rejection. And then, the car pulled up. Not a family member. Not someone they expected. But someone who remembered who she was. I didn't say a word. Not yet. I just stood there, watching her sit alone on the bench, smoothing the hem of her dress. She didn't cry. She didn't ask why. She just sat there, like she already knew. They didn't push her out of the frame. They did something worse. They made her feel like she never belonged in it to begin with. And the worst part? It came from inside the family. From the very woman who smiled at me at dinner last week. Called me sister, laughed with my husband. Taught my daughter's class. That was the moment something inside me shifted. Not rage. Not panic. Just a cold, steady clarity. I wasn't going to beg them to see her. I'd show them what they missed. When I married Daniel, I knew I wasn't just marrying a man, I was marrying a legacy. His family was tight-knit. Proud. The kind that held Sunday dinners like rituals and kept portraits of ancestors on the hallway walls. They had polished floors, polite smiles, and a quiet way of letting you know when you didn't quite fit. But I tried. God, I tried. They said all the right things when we got engaged. Welcome to the family. You're one of us now. But there was always something distant behind their eyes. Like they were waiting to see if I'd measure up. If she would measure up. My daughter, Ellie, was 6 when we moved in. She was quiet. Gentle. The kind of kid who noticed ants on sidewalks and drew wings on all her stick figures. She wasn't loud, wasn't flashy, didn't demand attention. Maybe that's why they overlooked her so easily. Vanessa, Daniel's sister, was a teacher at the private school Ellie transferred to. She said she'd keep an eye out for her. At first, I thought that was kindness. Now I'm not so sure. Vanessa was the kind of woman who ironed her jeans and used her maiden name at school for professionalism. She smiled with her teeth, but her eyes never softened. Every time she spoke to Ellie, it felt like she was evaluating her, not seeing her. Like Ellie was a stray kitten someone left on the porch, and she was just waiting for us to come back and claim her. Still, I kept showing up. For parent events. For morning drop-off. I joined the classroom volunteer group, baked for fundraisers, even donated art supplies. Vanessa never said thank you. Daniel said I was reading too much into it. That Vanessa was just intense. But it wasn't just her. It was the way the other parents looked at Ellie. The way invitations to birthday parties always got lost. The way her name was always spelled wrong in newsletters. I once overheard 2 moms chatting at a bake sale. Oh, that's Daniel's stepdaughter? She's sweet. Shame about her clothes. That day, Ellie was wearing a yellow cardigan I'd hand-stitched from an old sweater. She picked the buttons herself, tiny daisies. She loved that cardigan. I didn't have the heart to tell her what they said. Ellie never complained. Not once. She'd sit at the kitchen table every evening, doing homework in perfect rows. Sometimes she'd pause to hum under her breath or draw a tiny bird in the margins. She was soft in a world that sharpened its edges. Daniel loved her in his way. He brought her home puzzles, helped her with math. But he never stood up to his family when it counted. He never noticed the slights. Or maybe he chose not to. There was a photo on the wall at his parents' house. Daniel as a kid, Vanessa beside him, both grinning in matching holiday sweaters. One afternoon, I asked if we could add one of Ellie to the shelf below. His mom smiled thinly and said, "Let's wait until she's been here a little longer. Don't want to crowd the space." Crowd the space. I swallowed my reply. Ellie had made a painting for that visit, Vanessa in a flower crown. She gave it to her with both hands, smiling. Vanessa said, "How sweet," then slid it into her purse without a second glance. That night, Ellie asked me, "Do you think Aunt Vanessa liked it?" I said, "Of course she did." But something inside me cracked a little. Every time I looked at my daughter, I saw all the love she carried. All the hope she wore like a ribbon in her hair. She wasn't perfect, but she was good. She was kind. And I didn't care if they didn't see it. Because I did. And I wasn't going to let them erase her. Not quietly. Not this time. I kept brushing it off. The missed invitations. The awkward pauses. The way Vanessa's voice always softened half a pitch when she said my daughter's name, like she was trying to make it sound sweeter than she meant it. Like she was trying too hard to seem kind. I told myself it was just a phase. That blending families took time. That Ellie would grow on them. But time passed. And Ellie kept shrinking. It started small. She came home one day and said she didn't get a partner during reading time. They already paired up before I got there, she said, tracing the edge of the table with her finger. I sent a message to Vanessa, asking if she'd noticed anything. She replied in 2 lines. Nothing unusual in class. Kids can be cliquey. It's normal. No warmth. No concern. Just cold. Another week, Ellie forgot her lunchbox. I dropped it off and stopped by her classroom. Through the small window, I saw Vanessa standing at the front. Ellie sat alone at a desk near the back, head down, drawing something in her notebook. The other kids were in clusters, laughing, whispering, nudging each other. No one looked at her. That night, I asked her how her day was. She just shrugged. It was fine. But her voice was smaller. And she didn't finish her dinner. One afternoon, they posted photos from Kindness Week on the school's online board. Every student was featured holding a little chalkboard with a word written in crayon. Brave. Loyal. Funny. Strong. Ellie's picture wasn't there. I refreshed the page. Checked again. Nothing. I emailed the school. They said some students were absent that day. Ellie wasn't absent. She woke up early. She wore her favorite shirt. She even practiced writing curious in different colors the night before. When I asked her what happened, she hesitated. Then she said, Mrs. Tran said we ran out of boards. She told me I could do it next year. Mrs. Tran. Vanessa. I felt it then. A quiet fury. Not loud. Not explosive. Just solid. Like a wall settling into place. At the next family dinner, Vanessa passed around printed photos of a class field trip. Kids smiling on hay bales, picking pumpkins, hugging goats. Ellie was in one picture, in the background, blurry, halfway out of frame. I asked if there were more. She blinked. Oh, I guess she wandered off while we were snapping the group ones. Daniel didn't say anything. He just passed the basket of bread. Later that night, Ellie came to me with a folded flyer in her hand. Picture days next week, she said softly. Can you come? They said parents can help set up. She looked hopeful. Just a flicker. But I saw it, and I swore I would be there. I arrived early on picture day. Ellie had already gone in. She wore the same sky blue dress she picked weeks ago, the one with tiny stars stitched along the chest. It was a little short now, a little snug in the shoulders. But she loved how it twirled when she spun. So I made it work. Ironed it the night before. Fixed the loose hem. Added a clip to her ponytail, just to make her feel seen. I brought a bag of cups for the juice station. Just a small thing I'd volunteered for. I didn't want to draw attention. I just wanted her to feel like I was there. Really there. Parents were chatting outside the gym. The usual chatter, backpacks, summer plans, ballet rehearsals. I stood by the folding table, adjusting stacks of napkins, pretending not to notice the looks. Pretending I belonged there. Inside, I saw Ellie at the edge of the class group. Smoothing her dress. Fixing her hair in the tiny mirror I'd stuck in her lunchbox. She looked so ready. So proud. Then I saw Vanessa lean over and whisper to another teacher. I couldn't hear much, but I caught 5 words that sliced through the air. She doesn't match the others. The aide glanced toward Ellie, then gave a small nod. Vanessa called her name, sweetly, too sweet. Ellie, why don't you wait on the bench for a moment? We're just figuring out the layout. Ellie paused, confused. She took a step forward, then stopped. Something in her shifted. She turned, walked slowly to the bench, sat down, folded her hands in her lap. No one stopped her. No one questioned it. Not even Daniel's sister, the one who promised to look out for her. She looked at Ellie like she wasn't part of the picture. Because to her, she wasn't. And that's when I knew. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a choice. Deliberate. Cold. And final. I didn't go to the bench. I didn't walk over. I didn't demand answers. I knew better. I'd learned a long time ago that making noise only gives them something to point at. So I stood still, breathing through my teeth, clutching a stack of napkins so tightly they crumpled in my hands. Ellie didn't cry. That's what gutted me the most. She didn't ask questions. She didn't protest. She just folded into herself, like she'd done it before. The photo was taken without her. Flash. Laughter. Vanessa's clipboard snapping shut. I left before they passed out juice boxes. As we walked to the car, Ellie's voice was barely audible. Can we go now? I nodded. We crossed the parking lot in silence, our hands linked tightly, mine steady, hers small and cold. Then, just as we reached the curb, I stopped. Looked down at her. Do you want to do your own picture day? She blinked. What do you mean? I mean, we don't need them to see you. We just need the right lens. She didn't answer. But she didn't let go of my hand either. When we got home, I pulled out my phone and scrolled to a name I hadn't seen in nearly a year. Devin Vega. He was the photographer who shot my first wedding. The only one who ever made Ellie smile on camera. He used to work with my late husband, James. He took the last photo we had of all three of us, Ellie on James' shoulders, both of them mid-laugh, in the backyard under the old oak tree. I stared at the contact, thumb hovering, then typed, "Hey, are you still doing portraits? I need something special. Today." 3 minutes later, he replied. 10 minutes. Say the word. I typed back. Please come. When he pulled up, it was like watching a movie rewind itself. Same black car. Same sharp blazer. Same camera slung across his chest like it was part of him. He stepped out, scanned the sidewalk, and smiled when he saw her. "Leah," he called. "Heard we've got a photo emergency." Ellie stared. "Devin?" Her voice cracked just a little. "I used to chase you around with a camera, remember? You hated it." She blinked. "I don't hate it now." "Good," he grinned. "Because I brought the good lens." We drove to the park behind the school. Cherry blossoms in full bloom. Petals falling like pink snow. He sat up under a tree, adjusted his angle, tested the light. "All right, Leah," he said. "Let's make some magic." She stood tall, chin up, arms loose. He snapped. "Now spin." She twirled, laughed. Not a school photo smile, a real one. And I watched it happen. That light inside her. Coming back. Not because someone told her to smile, but because someone made space for her to be seen. After the last shot, Devin showed her the screen. She leaned in. "Is that really me?" "You look like yourself," he said. "And that's more than good. That's rare." She beamed. And I almost cried. But I didn't. I crossed my arms and stayed steady because someone had to. Devin packed up. Said he'd send edits by midnight. Before he left, he handed me a small envelope. Inside was a printed photo from years ago, the one of Ellie and James under the oak tree. "You might need this reminder," he said gently. I didn't answer. But I held it like it was something holy. That night, the files came in. And every single shot looked like something out of a magazine. Not because of Devin. Because Ellie had come back to life in front of his lens. I picked one. The one where she's looking straight into the camera, eyes fierce, mouth slightly parted, like she's about to say something important. I printed it, trimmed it, and taped it to the fridge, right next to the old one of James holding her up to the sky. The next morning, I walked Ellie to school like nothing had happened. Her backpack bounced gently with each step. Her hair was freshly combed. She didn't say much, but there was a calmness to her, like something had shifted, settled. Before we reached the front gate, I slipped a photo into her folder. The one Devin took, her spinning beneath the blossoms, skirt flaring, eyes alive. She looked at me, confused. "Just in case," I said. We reached the steps. Parents gathered again, same chatter. Vanessa stood near the gym doors, clipboard in hand, sunglasses perched perfectly on her head. She scanned the crowd. Her eyes landed on us. Pause. Flicker. Then she smiled, that tight, rehearsed smile she always used when other adults were watching. Ellie didn't stop. Didn't wave. Didn't hesitate. She walked straight past her. Head high, back straight. And she wasn't letting go of my hand. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. Devin had already taken care of that. That afternoon, I got a message from the school office. Vanessa wanted to speak with me. I didn't go. She didn't deserve a conversation. Not after what she did. Not after she looked at a child she called family and decided she didn't belong in a memory. I didn't need her apology. I wasn't interested in whatever carefully scripted excuse she was ready to deliver. Instead, I printed 2 more copies of the photo. One for Ellie's art teacher, the only adult at that school who ever saw her for who she really was. And one I mailed to Daniel's parents. No note. Just the image. Ellie mid-spin. Bright-eyed. Unmistakably joyful. The next time we were invited over for dinner, I declined. I didn't explain. Daniel asked why. I said, because I'm done pretending. He didn't argue. He just sat there, holding his glass of wine a little too tightly. That evening, I saw something taped to Ellie's bedroom door. A drawing she made, cherry blossoms, a little camera, and in bold letters across the top. Seen. No glitter. No stickers. Just that word. And for the first time in months, she hummed herself to sleep. I didn't leave in a storm. There was no slammed door. No screaming match in the driveway. Just space. Widening. I stopped going to the Sunday dinners. Stopped answering the group messages from his family. Vanessa texted once. "Hope everything's okay. You've been missed." I didn't reply. Daniel noticed, of course. He asked questions at first. Soft ones. "Are you all right?" Want me to talk to her? But it was too late for talk. I didn't need a mediator. I needed a partner. And he wasn't one, not when it counted. The night Ellie's new photo went up on the fridge, Daniel stared at it for a long time. He said, "She looks older." I nodded. She had to grow up a little yesterday. He didn't ask what I meant. I don't think he wanted to know. I started making plans. Quietly. Systematically. Checked leases. Made lists. Opened a separate account. I wasn't trying to punish anyone. I just knew this place wasn't ours anymore. Maybe it never was. Ellie didn't ask questions. She just watched me closely, like she could sense the shift in the air. One night, as I packed away winter clothes into boxes, she asked, "Are we moving?" I paused, then said, "Would that be okay?" She nodded. And that was it. We found a small apartment across town. Nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms, warm light in the morning, and a little balcony with chipped paint. But it was ours. The day we moved, Daniel helped load boxes into the car. He didn't try to stop me. He didn't beg. He just stood there on the porch, arms crossed, watching us go. As I buckled Ellie into the back seat, she held the photo Devin took, edges worn now, creased from her backpack. She looked up and said, "Will this one go on the new fridge?" I smiled. Front and center. When we got to the new place, she helped me unpack the kitchen. Put plates in drawers too high for her arms. Folded dish towels in half-moon shapes. That night, I taped the photo to the fridge. Right in the middle. Next to it, I placed the old one, James holding her in the backyard, both of them laughing like the world had never hurt them. 2 versions of her. One lifted, one standing. And both exactly where they belonged. A few weeks after we moved, Ellie brought home a new drawing. It was simple, just black ink on white paper. A girl with a camera. Cherry blossoms falling like snow. And across the top, in bold block letters, "I see you." She taped it above her desk without saying a word. But I knew what it meant. One afternoon, her art teacher emailed me. Said Ellie had entered the drawing into a student showcase. It was chosen. Printed. Framed. Now hanging in the school's main hallway. I didn't tell Daniel. I didn't tell Vanessa. Not because I wanted to hide it, but because it wasn't for them. It was for every kid who's ever sat on the edge of a group photo, wondering if they were allowed to be seen. It was for every mother who stood in silence, holding back a scream, just to protect the dignity of their child. And it was for Ellie. That week, I got a message on Facebook from one of the other moms. "I saw the photo Devin took. It's stunning." I had no idea Ellie was so photogenic. I replied, "She's always been beautiful. She just needed the right lens." She didn't answer. But I didn't need her to. That night, I found Ellie sitting by the fridge again. Legs crossed. Back against the wall. Just looking at James holding her in the air. At herself standing tall beneath the blossoms. "Do you think Daddy would have liked this one?" she asked. I didn't hesitate. He would have framed it. And probably showed it to every stranger he met. She smiled. One of those quiet ones that stays in the corners of your eyes. Then she said, "I think I want to be a photographer someday. For kids like me. Ones who feel invisible." I looked at her, this little girl who used to fold into herself. Now blooming, steady and bright. "You already are," I said. "Because you showed them what it looks like. To rise."